Oh my goodness, how are you guys doing? We are back with another exciting beta read. Oh my goodness, we just got done with the last one, so I'm just gonna throw out the intro right there. Very interesting. This is the second one we're doing this year. Wow, I used to do these all the time, so many. But ever since the Great Purge, where we deleted like 20 something of these videos off the channel, yeah, I mean, let's get some new ones in there. So I'm very excited. Really quickly, I want to give a huge shout out to Jack Stone, which is the author name, for letting us beta read this. Very exciting, very awesome. So really quick, a little bit about myself. I'm a 5-star beta reader, 5-star ghostwriter, 6-time published author. Oh my goodness. And let's get the quick plugs out of the way. Like, subscribe, do what you gotta do. Here are some books of mine. The Yamikage, A New Dawn, my first book. So wonderful. Not Every Star in the Night. Oh, bam. Horror. Love it. Scary. Oh my Lanza. Bright Dreadful Sun. Whoa. Cool. And then we wrote the Modern Kama Sutra, which is very weird. That was a very weird write for me. And of course, the Yamikage New Diplomacy. Very cool, but you want to double check. Maybe I'll give you guys advice on why you shouldn't write these thick fucking novels. But anyways, let's just jump right into it. So what do we got over here? Oh yeah. So the Fiverr beta reads, they could take hours and hours and hours. But so what this is a compartmentalized, kind of like compressed speed read of what would usually take me a long time. So yeah, I'm just kind of just opening up as if I'm a reader, just opening up as if I'm reading for the first time, saying, hey guy, well, do I want to read this? That's exactly what the mindset to this is. So let's just jump right into it. Busker, pretty interesting. So what we have is, what I received is kind of this like almost professional forward right here. Autofiction, pretty interesting. Okay, so autofiction, the key to autofiction is autobiography mixed with like some surprise fictitious elements. So what you want to do is be very careful with that, and there's a lot of really fun stuff you could do. So I'm very excited when I receive autofictions, and I've beta read over 100 books. So when I receive these, it's always fun because it's almost like a guessing game. You're trying to constantly guess like what's real and what's fake. I'm gonna blur out. I can't blur it. Nobody take the email. I'll blur it out. I'm gonna swiftly go past it. I don't edit these videos. So with that being said, yeah, nobody freeze, nobody go to his house. How about that? Prologue. So yeah, it's been a while since so ghostwriting, learned a lot of new things. So especially since getting pro writing aid, which is like completely awesome. Just learned a lot of new things to comment on. Prologue, I would stay away from them. Unless they truly are necessary to set the precedent of the novel at large, I would totally stay away from them. No need for it. First sentence, first paragraph, first page, very important. So we want to take a look at this kind of really constructed, because you could tell the success of a novel a lot of times just by this first page. So you want to double check. Well, sales doesn't necessarily translate to optimal success. Anyways, we're looking at literary elements here. I'm not here to kind of break down the creative freedom, and that's the fellow beta readers. We're not supposed to drop the author. We're supposed to lift them up. So let's focus on that. This first sentence I will double check. My bony arse ached in a plastic school chair. Little ambiguous. I like how you're throwing the setting in there. That's pretty interesting. We're establishing first person narration immediately, which is good. But at the same time, don't be so ambiguous. Bony arse, I would take that out. I would start with a different sentence, one that has like a really strong literary footing, because you don't want to come off as crass immediately without the literary elements to back it up. So if you're aiming for that kind of crass, like kind of fun, you definitely want to have that balance between. You want to make it seem like you're doing it deliberately. So I would strengthen this first sentence. I really would. Maybe get some sensory detail in there, emotion, because what I'm looking at here is like kind of what I call sandwich narratives. These little sandwiches. The next paragraph right there is this cheeseburger narrative, which I would rather see as the open. So yeah, I would remove this first paragraph or reformat it or add just a little bit. Give it more seasoning. So my bony arse, and I would also remove the conjunction starting with the next sentence. No need for that. Opposite. So now you're bringing in another character. I want to focus on the main character. Really, you want to fall in love. You want to fall in love with the main character. You want to do that fast. You want to get that established. So when you're bringing in new people so suddenly, no need for that. Get that main character, get it strong, get those unique characteristics in there. Because I'm looking forward as well. And we got my mentor. So, just double check. I want to fall in love with the main, and when we're bringing other characters in, it removes this precious real estate. Treat every word as if it's precious real estate. Square footage in a mansion right here, this first page. So my mentor was Rich. I didn't ask for a cushion, though. I like the short sentences. I used to be bigger fans about these longer sentences. I like how the author's doing that, but keep the narratives a little bit longer, especially this open. I didn't want to give him a reason to notice how grubby and hungover. Oh, this is gonna be fun, dude. I like that. And so I hope it keeps that crass element. I don't want to get rid of that. I don't want to just have the elements to back it up, or rather to lift up the necessary. Like, for example, I would focus on main character almost entirely right now because, not necessarily almost entirely, but I don't want to hear about the mentor. I want to hear about the main. I want to get that main established. I want it strong. I want to fall in love with the main. I want to do it fast. Eye contact her was a reflection of my face. The person that could have been right there. So I like how there's a narrative voice. That's pretty cool. So he's kind of giving his own input there. Wore a cardigan, clean shirt, and crisp business towers. Maybe throw some color in there. Maybe get that out there. Because that could kind of clue in certain details. So we're elevating, adding unique characteristics to the mentor. Pretty cool. But let's get it on the main. Focus on the main. Also, watch out for redundant material because sometimes it could get a little carried away with redundancy. So my hair was scruffy, my chin was stole, and my fingernails were bitten into scrappy stumps. So that's good, kind of in this situation. How can I say that's really good? Because a lot of people neglect that clothing changes per day. So a lot of people right now will just forget about the clothes. They're just given one clothes description and then that's it. And if it takes part over several days, several months, people are going to change clothes. So focus on those unique characteristics of physicality as opposed to articles of clothing unless it's a consistent theme. I'm also looking for the inciting incident. I'm also looking for the plot type, and I'm looking for that fast. I want to see it on this first page, or at least clues of it. His office was cramped and narrow. Nice setting. We got a first setting here. Unique. Elevate. Double check. I always felt depressed in there. The blue blinds, the flaky plate. Lovely. Wonderful. Big bird goes around, like keeping horrible. And it was cold in there. Lovely. Okay. Getting some sensory in the form of feel. Nice. Like that. A big fan of this paragraph. The brochures, epic halls, and by the way, if I talk too slow, or there's gonna be a lot of me just looking. Feel free to speed it up. I might sound funny, but what are you gonna do? It was all bullshit. That can go. That can just leave because it's filler. It doesn't need to be there. Also, but no one had lectures in there. I'm not a fan of beginning with conjunctions. We had lectures, logo, red picture. But I really like this. I like this paragraph here. Really descriptive. This is that I'm talking about. It's got those elements. So I know the setting is an author's strength already. All right, first dialogue. Very similar to first sentence. Very simple. You want to really kind of focus on that. Kind of punchy impact statements. I know you wanted me to focus on narratives and focus on paragraphs. I like the dialogue presentation. I'm hoping there's going to be consistency. And I do not read ahead, by the way, so I'm reading as I go. You should be at phase 3 by now. How far you got? We're opening the question. Get a tag in there because I want to know who's talking. So it says he, but it's kind of... You should be at phase 3 by now. How far have you got? I'm a bit behind. Don't worry. I'm a fan of kind of having a wider encompassing, almost more abstract type of opening dialogue. Something that encompasses the feel of the entirety of the novel. Kind of really gets that theme in there. Love that. Love when that happens. So maybe I would reformat this dialogue, add something new in there. He found at an assessment form, right, Bez, I want to see you at the time, not that, chinless posh face. There was no soul in him, no humanity, no this. That's that crass coming through, I like that. The room smelled weird. That's good sensory detail in the form of smell. Maybe just, yeah, that's good. I like that. Double check though. Do you really want that on the first page though? Focus on the big picture on this first page. The first chapter, yeah. Watch out for fluff. That's also what I'm going to have my eyes on. But I love the stylizing. Ladies and gentlemen, we got some stylizing in the works over here. Thump, thump, thump. Pretty cool. What the fuck is happening? Italics utilize to show internal dialogue. Pretty interesting. Now that gets really tricky when you're in first-person perspective. Also having first-person dialogue. And then you got this first-person internal dialogue. It's hard to differentiate the internal dialogue between the narratives and then the dialogue within and of itself. So double check. It's really hard to pull this off. I shot up and grabbed his cell phone. Yeah, great. I appreciate the guidance. I shook it with maybe voice. I want to hear his voice. I'll get working on the way. That guy, bye. Rushed out. A lady with a Hoover. Yeah, watch out that this doesn't get scatterbrained. Double check. Find, know your direct line. Know your ladder where you're supposed to go. I like to describe it as a dish. No, like a nice, maybe you're cooking fish or something. You want the dish to be the star. So I'm looking for the plot to be the star. And then everything, all the fluff gets kind of seasoned around. In moderation. So double check. Outside for better, air was soft and cold. Outside for better, air was soft and cold. These, watch out for redundancies that don't need to be there. I'm looking for plot movement, and I want, get it fast. You don't have to give everything away, but watch out for some of this fluff that doesn't need to be there. I'll check my pen. Constantly ask yourself, why am I putting that there? So much straight to the shop. Nothing. I'm not seeing anything bad though. If there was something like truly, I would say it. But this is looking good. I mean, I'm liking the presentation. I'm loving the stylizing. I really do like when people can pull that off. Maybe double check. Also pull that back just a little bit. Boop boop boop. I like that too. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm a fan of style. I really am. I'm a fan of stylizing. I'm a fan of neat presentation. So, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, before you send things out to beta readers, make sure you got a neat presentation. I'm seeing something very neat. I would work on the symmetry a little bit, find that consistency between these narratives and the symmetry. Double check that, but it's actually not. It's not horrible at all. It's pretty good. So, if I receive this on Fiverr, for example, I'd be happy. I'd be like, okay, this is easy to read. Yeah, the mind enjoys symmetry. I would pull back on the stylizing. Actually, double check. You don't want that to take form and take over. True descriptions. Tiny colorful birds. Focus on the necessities. Oh, the Tao Te Ching. I got one over there. I love that thing. I read it every day. Very ambiguous book, man. You could maybe you should read that. All right. So the F word could be attributed. Double check your swear words. What could be perceived the wrong way? You know. So people are like, "What is that?" You know. I could have buried myself in the rich soil. Lived there and been happening around like a gringo earth. Focus on and get specifics in here. I want to know what the plot at large is. I lay my back and prayed to nature and ran my fingers through the soft grain, guys. I like it. So we have a nice author strength and kind of describing the sensory. That's pretty nice. Breathe out, breathe in the hills. Focus on clarity, though. That's what I'm looking for. Is I want a clear, inciting incident, and I want a clear plot type. I want a clear main character archetype. All three are ambiguous. So let's double check. I get cold and lonely. Because you don't want your open to be so fluff. You don't want it fluffy. You want it to be like, okay, this story's going to be about this. This is kind of like the plot type. Okay, you got to have clues of what it is. So I'm not seeing any. Turn the corner and bump into Sammy. I knew him from the pubs. Be careful with too many characters. I want to see the major players too. Yeah. So if Sammy's going to be a major player, elevate. Because we had the mentor in there. Maybe we had another character I already forgot. Double check. Are they really that important that you want them in the open? Let's see. I'm not seeing elements of a prologue at all. This doesn't have to be a prologue. This would be chapter 1. It's not setting the precedent for the novel at large. What it is, it's going into events. It's establishing events. Remove prologue. No need to be there. I kept that one. Oh, yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah, like I said, there's no need for that to be a prologue as well. It didn't fulfill the elements of a prologue. Yeah, no need for that. Buddhist beads and gemstones jingled around same. It's not going to be pretty good. Maybe a metaphor in there. Why not? His hair was shaggy, his beard black and bushy, yellow leopard cane. So you're good at, author's really good at describing, describing. This author's really good at describing detail in very interesting ways. I like the crass kind of feel. Like, it's good when a novel, it's good when a story has a feel to it, like a central underlying theme, and I think that crassness is really bringing that up. But you want to double check if it gets too out of control in lieu of the proper literary elements. Double check, because I'm trying to really nail, like, already chapter 1. By chapter 1 in another book, like, some people only read, like me, I only ask for single chapters. If I was publishing, I would only ask for the chapter, and right now I would send it back just for that lack of clarity of the big picture. So double check, I would focus on that, get that big picture in there. Let's see. Because right now I can't identify the plot type, I can't identify the main character archetype, and I can't identify the inciting incident, which is what I look for. I look for these three things almost immediately. Almost exclusively as well. Sometimes. I could already see the neat presentation. I love the paragraph right here. Nice and healthy. Okay. I can't do it. I grabbed the can, cracked it open, take a sip, leave the lager. I like how he was hungover before. I could already tell that was a cool thing. But so when you're writing autofiction, you want the author to really put yourself in there, and you want to kind of, what's the word here? It's almost like almost in the subtext, you want to be able to differentiate what's real and what's fake. So you don't want to be overwhelmed with what feels like a lot of extraneous material. I want to focus on what parts are the auto and what parts are the true fiction. So anyways, there's a lot of heavy dialogue, so I don't know if the narrator actually remembers this, the author remembers this dialogue. So you gotta double check. So that's where the autofiction comes into play. But let's get. And the thing about autobiographies in general, autobiographies, writing about yourself, putting yourself into novels, is you want to have a good story yourself. Like when I receive an autobiography, for example, The ones that stay, the ones that have that staying power, have a lesson. Number one, a nice lesson and a great story, like a good story for yourself. So, author, if you've been through like a lot of stuff, I want to see that. I want to see like if you've been through trauma, or maybe if you've been through tension. I'm also looking for tension too. If you've been through all this, put that forward and really let it shine, as opposed to some of this extraneous detail, although it is described quite well. Let's see. How many pages do I have? Oh, dude, I got the whole fucking manuscript. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna do 1 or 2 chapters. I usually cap it there. Maybe I'll fly to the end too. What? I usually like to keep these under 40 minutes, but sometimes I get carried away. Let's see. Sammy's phone rang. I answered. I fit it. You here now? Okay. You know where I live. Cool. I said that's yeah. For was stay for a couple days. Finished beer. Got up to Self-Void. Didn't get a message. Then landlord, fire hazard or something. Jay's been best friend school. Another character introduction. Careful with that. Okay, fine. We heard a lot. Bang, bang, bang. Not seeing anything that I would normally comment on aside from what I already did. Maybe watch out. I see it kind of getting a little asymmetrical. No, it's standing on its legs. It's fine. I would call this second draft. It's probably in the first draft stages. But right now, I would say it's like I've got something a lot, way less neat than this. So I would say this is almost like perfect second draft material, although I can tell it's probably in the first draft. I don't know. I wouldn't send it off to print just yet. Maybe give a developmental edit, see what's going on and what works and what doesn't. I would avoid the fluff. But some of this detail is so good. Like the way you describe certain things is really fun. I think that's another thing too, is the author's really putting their foot forward with the fun. I like that. So just make sure you're reeling people in with the proper literary elements, because I'm still trying to. Oh, Slim Shady. Oh my goodness, I got the Marshall Mathers LP CD in my car, dude, and it's like full of coffee stains. I'm like, what the heck, man? That's such a good CD, dude. He'll pick up beers, pick some weed off Sammy, Jack. Give the unique characteristics. So if these are going to be the major players, especially the main character, right now it's hard to picture the main, and that needs to be, especially in autofiction, any fiction, that main character needs to be elevated. It needs to be presented well. Right now it's what I call a silhouette character. All 3 of these guys are kind of silhouette characters where you're just kind of like a little bit ambiguous. The way I like to describe it is, if you're walking down the street and you saw the character, you should be able to recognize them. So with that being said, double check. Jack jumped to a window and saw action, pretty good. Yeah, I want to see more action, definitely. So let's see some of that. Hurts now coming. You're good at settings. So author's got a strength at settings, strength at description. Where the I'll put this in the conclusion. 1 second. Find a hole on the top floor. You just want to cut it off because my space on my computer is going wacko. Warm fuzz fill the back of the eyes. No one knew about the wild coaster whipped up. See, I'm looking for the inciting incident, and here's the thing: even if I missed it, that's not the best either, because you want it to be crystal clear. You want these things to be crystal clear. Careful. I've actually advised people nowadays to write the most important stuff, and then in the next couple drafts start bringing in the extraneous, kind of the elevation. So, cook a good fish, like cook a really good steak, and then bring in some of that side dish action. Let's see. No, thanks. I probably spew. Double check. Okay, here's something that I always kind of have to double check about is the ping pong dialogue. The double check the onion chops, the ping pong dialogue. Right here, there's a lot of things that don't need to be here. Like cool, that can go. I need to spew. That can stay. But double check some of this dialogue that doesn't need to be there. Him, doubt it. You don't want that rapid back and forth so much. A lot of times it does do the job correctly. And also at the same time, here's chapter 2. I'm going to cap here. Just because my energy, or not my energy, my gigabytes or whatever the computers do, is running low. I got like 3 gigs on this whole SD card. Wow. Yeah, right here I would end on a nice full body narrative. Really nice. Some of the ones we saw at the beginning to really balance this out at the end. Yeah, let's see. Should I continue? I'm gonna dip into the next chapter a little bit. It does have that real factor. I want to see more of that crass fun. I also by chapter 2. I want to see these elements important. Inciting incident, plot type, character archetypes. I want to see these. I don't have them, so definitely focus on the big picture. This is one of those novels where I always put myself in the author's mind and what their thought process is while writing. I feel like this is a novel that's really fun to write. Careful there, because you got to get that left brain in there as well. You really do. So The first draft is usually that kind of fun. Let's get it out there, and then the next drafts are really getting that left brain in there. I lead with left brain, so you'll see my novels. The creativity happens after the left brain stuff, and that's why my novels get gigantic sometimes, dude. So right here, because there's a lot of ambiguous material, so that's one thing I'm looking at. Watch the ping pong dialogue right here. Just gonna speed through this. What time is it? 20 minutes. Yeah, let's make sure it doesn't get to 30. Dude, there's a lot of characters, a lot of silhouette characters too. I want that main character crystal clear, not getting that. But I feel like if I had that picture in my head, it would be really lovable. Aim for unique characteristic. I know you had a beard, and long hair, or maybe black hair. Like I said, I'm rusty. I haven't done these in a while. So yeah, I mean, if you're watching this and you're probably like, oh, he missed that, or whatever, I'm rusty. What are you gonna do? I love the stylizing. I'm seeing some consistent stylizing. Just make sure it's not overdone. Watch the swear words. That's another thing. You don't need the swear words. They're fluff. They don't contribute. It's not nowadays. It's not about the off-puttingness. It's more about the just fluff. Let's see, promenade. Not like I'm saying. I'm not seeing the crystal clear elements, of a story, and those need to be apparent. It should be okay. This is crystal clear, and this is what's supporting it. It's kind of like hieroglyphics. I think you gotta put it that way. Where like hieroglyphic is on a pillar, and then you see the pillar, and then the hieroglyphics are around the pillar. That's kind of, I guess, what I'm trying to say here is like, build a strong pillar, and then get the designs around it. Fuck off, Mike. Don't tell me. Oh my goodness, I'll start my life out good. That's it. I'm not going to chapter 3. I got a minute. I want to go to the end. That's something I like sneaking around. I was getting to the end as well. What I want is that last sentence. I want to see how that last sentence is. Hurry up. That's a long manuscript. I think we're at 60K in this one. Pretty cool. I think that's a nice sweet spot for this genre. Maybe I would actually pull it back a little bit, maybe like 50K. A lot of authors, I'm not saying this author does this or is doing this. A lot of authors are starting to think that more is better. That's not true, actually. I would love to see a shorter novel that is really concise, really well done, as opposed to a longer novel with a lot of fluff and detail that doesn't need to be there. I love you guys. I always will. I trudged through the rain. It's true with Scottish Judge. On said Busker, always move, man. I can't see. What's a busker? Oh, it was a busker. That's awesome. I love how it kept the crass up until the very, very end. I think the author's right. Listen, conclusion, very good. So loving this, very interesting. There's a lot of things to kind of work on, but at the same time, there's so many cool things that are seeping out here. With that being said, let's focus up. We don't want extraneous detail. We want to focus on that conciseness. But this novel has a really strong voice. It's got like that really crass voice. It's fun, and it reels people in. The demographic, I would wonder, is this universe? You got to look at that too. Is this universally appealing? It's got a lot of swears. There's a way to balance that out. You can get the crass, and you could also get the that left brain stuff. That's what I would focus on here. Is I would go back and make sure everything is in place, like kind of like I feel like the chessboard is a little like cluttered. I would go back and maybe start the game anew, and then focus on what you did right and what you did wrong. Setting, really good settings in there, really good. That's a great author strength I saw here. I'm getting winded. The other one was faster. This one I don't know. So setting, great author strength. You got a lot of good ways to describe detail. That's what I love that too. There's a lot of good sensory detail. I would love to see a little bit more metaphors, maybe a little bit more metaphors. Because that could be another element in your tool belt. I feel like you would be really good at. Good sensory detail, good regular detail. Just double check for redundancies. Like the 3 things. Double check that first paragraph for sentence. Plot type. I want to know what plot type it is. I want that identified fast. I know a lot of times it's like you got to read more and more and more and more. I want it fast. I want it there. I want it, especially since I get some manuscripts and I want to see all these elements placed. I want to see clear character archetype, plot type, and all these very important things. I want the inciting incident. I also didn't get that either. Also, we started with some extraneous characters, but I feel like the main has a lot of potential for uniqueness. And when you get autofiction too, you got to kind of really differentiate what's real and what's fake. But you got to also, it's an art because you got to do it in a way that's kind of like kind of sneaky. You know what I mean? Like it's got to be clear but sneaky. It's kind of under the surface, under the iceberg, I guess I would say. Very good. I wouldn't send it off to the press just yet. Maybe go back, give it another draft. Write down, maybe get a notes page. Get a notes page and maybe just literally put the most essential parts. Literally just the most essential parts that need to be in the novel. Double check each and every single one of them that they're done well. And then watch out for things that are kind of sifting around it. Like dust things off a little bit. This is one of those novels where you could pull back a lot. There's a lot of pulling back. Which is actually the easier thing to do. Sometimes it's better to pull back than to have to add more. This is not one of those novels where you have to add too much to. But what you should do is focus on clarity at large, big picture at large. Focus on the main character. Main character is everything. This main character needs a lot of elevation, especially autofiction. Autofiction is about the main character, so I want that elevated. So with that being said, paragraphs are punchy. They're good. Good job. Very cool. So with that being said, like, subscribe, have a great time, keep on writing, keep on practicing, dude, and let me know when this gets out there. I really want to see. It should be pretty interesting. Kimberly, I didn't see a female character. That was pretty interesting. Maybe later he'll get a female interest or something. You never know. But very exciting. I like it. Keep your writing style. You have a unique writing style. I'm noticing that. Like, it's like I got half the diamond in my hand, but it's still got a little bit of coal on it. You got this style that it's ready to emerge. If that makes sense. All right. Anyways, keep on writing. Have a good time, and I don't know. Watch your SEO as well. You know, if when you're titling, that was what the beta read right before this is the SEO and the title. Watch your title. It's not a big thing. I mean, most people are passion writers. Some people want to get profit. Double check that. Double check where that stands. Very good. And I'm trying to find the stop button. Where is it? Okay, here's a minute of me just looking for the stop button. Where the heck is it? Because my mouse is moving slow. Stop it. Stop recording. What else would I do? I also try to figure out what I would do here. That literally I would deconstruct this. That's the first thing I would do. I was literally focus, deconstruct the most important elements. Like I would literally write them down in one sentence each, maybe even in just a few words. Literally just the most essential, and then focus on what's taking away from that. Where's the thing? Oh my goodness. What else would I do? There's a lot of good detail in here, so I wouldn't do too much with detail. Like I said, I would go more with the left brain kind of boring stuff. That kind of stuff. All right. Anyways, keep it real. Found it. Have a good one.